I kind of was just like, well, don't talk to me like that. Like, you're not gonna fight me with knives. We're just gonna sit down and have dinner. And he sits down and he starts speaking in tongue or like a dead ancient language. He had an accent and everything. And my heart just sank. Like, I didn't even know exactly what it was. But I was just like, what are you saying? Like, he barely knows Spanish. Like, there's no way you know this other language. And I start kind of freaking out, trying to talk to him. And then he starts spitting out like numbers, just number after number after number after number. And my head just goes, okay, this is like not him. And he starts speaking a dead ancient language.
The history of our Earth is so different from what we can imagine.
The Smithsonian, that if they found out about a large skeleton somewhere, was to go get it.
I'm going to assume at least one person is right, because if one person's right, it busts the paradigm.
It all goes back to the fallen cherub. And the problem with the modern day church, they have a very truncated view of the supernatural.
This backdrop that's just pregnant with all kinds of meaning associated with this Mount Hermon event.
Welcome to Blurry Creatures.
And this guy defects from the kingdom. That's a big deal.
We're kind of in a weird zone right now. We've been interviewing a lot of people talking about some stuff that we haven't really talked about a lot on the show, like astral projection, tarot cards, and sort of the new age stuff. So we've been interviewing pastors and people who are members of the show who had these experiences. And today we have another one. You know, we just released an episode about a listener who came out of the new age and how far she got into that, to the point where she was close to becoming like a full-blown witch, you know. And this is hard for a lot of people who listen, especially Christians. I don't know why, but we've been so sheltered from the spiritual realms and the darkness in our lives, a lot of us. Grew up in a nice Christian home and everything's rosy. And there's a lot of people out there on the fringes who, for whatever experience, maybe they have a parent who gets into this stuff, they experience the darkness in a way that, you know, they have to sort of go through it to come out the other side and realize not only is this real, but this almost killed me. So I'm giving my life to Christ and I'm coming out of it. Today we have another one of these stories of a member who kind of looked down the gun barrel, so to speak, of what's out there and sort of a slippery slope into that whole realm.
Yeah, and we live in a time, Nate, where, you know, where people are hungry for a spiritual encounter and for a supernatural encounter. There is an allure and a remarketing of what we just would label the new age that's being pushed upon this next generation. You know, it's being watered down. It is, you know, the ideas of horoscopes and those things have become sort of mainstreamed. And then you have all the stuff with astrology, tarot cards. You've got books being marketed to teens about casting spells and stuff that's just, it's being made to be palatable and normalized. And yet, when you get into this, the stories are real and raw about real encounters with demonic entities, with the darkness, and it is playing with fire. And so I think these stories are so important because we've got people that have come through the other side, and they can tell their story. And there's nothing more powerful than your own story and testimony. That's yours. And in this case, it's Sydney's, and with Joe, it was her story. And they walk through some crazy stuff, and I really hope this resonates with a lot of folks that listen. You know, we tackle all these topics from a biblical lens, through the context of the scripture, and through our faith. And you know, there's a lot of people searching that have had encounters with a lot of these pathways and methodologies in order to have spiritual or supernatural experiences. And I'm excited about Sydney's story today. Her own personal, salvation as a result, which is ultimately, right, the most amazing story is how through all the darkness God is working, and He's still pursuing. Yeah.
When she told it, it hit me. And Sydney's story is kind of a wild one of her fiance sort of manifesting being possessed. And, everything from speaking crazy languages to a lot of things. So, if you want to hear her story and other stories of people who have graciously provided their stories for us to help us keep the show rolling, you can go to blurrycreatures.com/members. If there's one thing I've learned, that the story of God redeeming humanity is not a boring one. And I don't know why we repackage it all in this boring way, but there's a war going on and it's not boring. Even though some of the stuff you don't want to have happen in your backyard or in your house, I can tell you this confidently that it is not boring. And if you have a boring sort of view or faith, there's times when life is boring, but this whole realm and these wars going on and these entities, it's fascinating in the sense that it wakes you up and it helps you realize how much you really need to get in the fight, pick a side, and make a difference. So, yeah, join the team, hang out with us, help us produce this and find more stories. If you have a story, send us an email, info@blurrycreatures.com. Maybe we'll get you on and tell members about it and break it down and see if we can all learn something from it.
Yeah, so let's bring on Sydney. But a reminder, hey, be good to each other out there. Have some humility and grace for those on the blurry streets. You don't know how your kindness can impact someone else's life. So just a little PSA there.
It's like an 80s PSA?
Kind of. It's like G.I. Joe.
No, you need a Mr. T voice.
G.I. Joe. But by God, Billy, it's like looking at myself in the mirror. Did your mother used to hang around Navy docks?
That is not what I thought you were going to say.
There's some kid out there in class who doesn't have any friends. Yeah. He could be having blurry experiences. Come on. Be kind.
I love it. Those are the days, dude. There were so many Mr. T. You had all these people telling you how to be just a better human. It's kind of funny time.
That's right.
All right, let's get Cindy on the show. Thanks for everyone who sponsors us. Helps us do this. Forever grateful for you guys.
Yep.
Let's get into the blurry verse.